Everybody, welcome to the High Path channel. If you're new, my name is Rosa and we are a plant-based family of 7. Today I am going to show you 3 ways to incorporate some comfort food even if you're plant-based. Now I do feel like those of you who are new to plant-based recipes or the diet, or even if you're just have these like stereotypical thoughts that being vegan or plant-based is just all about salads. It's not. It can be very comforting. So today I'm going to share with you 3 comfort foods that you can incorporate in your busy lives. Let's get into it.
Before we get started, we wash our hands with the very best using Eden Body Care products. Eden Body Care is a Nevada-based skincare company owned by yours truly, our family. We specialize in handmade soaps and body butters tailored to condition the driest skin even in the desert of Nevada. Find out more on our website, EdenBodyCare.com. All right, let's get back to the video.
In today's video, I will be sharing some simple and satisfying vegan comfort meals for busy families like ours. Now, these meals are not about perfection. They're about nourishment, about warmth, and ease. Think of them as a starting point and inspiration, if you will. Feel free to, of course, tweak, adjust, and add whatever works best for your family tastes and needs, because at the end of the day, we're really just cooking for real life, for real people, and for the love of good food. We're starting off with one of the simplest comfort meals, mashed potatoes with roasted Brussels sprouts and a rich mushroom gravy. This dish is humble but so deeply satisfying. And the best part, it comes together with just a few wholesome ingredients. Making mashed potatoes, of course, is no rocket science. It's one of the simplest, comforting side dishes you can make. And you know what makes it even better is I got these russet potatoes on sale, which makes the meal not only just cozy, but budget friendly too. Honestly, who doesn't love a good bargain? Feeding a big family means being mindful of costs at all times because things are expensive, and potatoes are just one of those amazing staples that are filling, they're versatile, and incredibly affordable. Now, I am chopping these without peeling them because the nutrients of the potatoes are in the skin itself. So I just give them a good scrub, give them a good wash, and we're going to put the potatoes on our stove to start boiling. Just like making pasta, we're going to salt the potato water, or the water that the potatoes are being boiled in, and we're going to move on to the Brussels sprouts. I love a good roasted Brussels sprout, and they really remind me of miniature cabbages, which is why I really love them, because I love anything miniature. Let me know in the comments if you are a fan of miniature anything, miniature little kitchenware, anything. Just let me know in the comments. You know what I'm talking about if you are a fan. Brussels sprouts, of course, have a very bad reputation, but if you've only ever had them boiled and bland, you're really missing out. So roasting them, whenever you're roasting them, magic happens. A little heat transforms them into crispy caramelized bites of goodness. I really just trim the ends. I slice them in half or like in quarters if they're too big, and then I just toss them with a little bit of grapeseed oil, some salt. You can of course season it however you want to. Some garlic powder, smoked paprika if you want, onion powder. Just be creative. We're going to give them a good massage just because we want all of the seasonings to be friends with all of our fellow Brussels sprouts. Then we're going to put them in the hot oven for about 20-25 minutes, and they're ready to go. Now let's talk about this rich and savory mushroom gravy, which is the heart of this meal. It's really deep and flavorful, and it comes together with just a handful of simple ingredients. It's so quick to put together. You're going to want to put this on anything and everything that you make nowadays. I started with chopping some onions and these beautiful portobello mushrooms that I scored on clearance as well. Of course, it makes it taste better because you know that you got a deal on the ingredients. So I'm going to slice up the onions just slices. You can also make them a little bit smaller. You can use garlic if you want to in here. I sliced the mushrooms really roughly. You can make it as fine as you want to, and then I'm just going to do a cross section, cut, roughly chop, just like this. All right, our base ingredients are done. We are going to take this to the stove. All we're going to do is saute this in some grapeseed oil, letting the onions soften and the mushrooms develop that deep golden color. Actually, it looks like I used some coconut oil here. You could use whatever oil that you have handy. We're also going to season with some salt. The salt helps draw out their moisture, the moisture of the mushrooms, and a little bit of patience while they cook down really builds that flavor on the mushrooms. So just take your time here, let the mushrooms really build up that flavor, let the onions build up that flavor as well. Trust me, it is definitely worth it. Once they're beautifully caramelized, I add a bit of flour to create a roux. This is what gives our gravy that like silky, thick gravy texture. So we're gonna let it cook for about a minute or two to take away some of that raw flour taste, and then I also slowly add water. You can also use vegetable stock if you're feeling fancy and if you have it on hand. I would suggest adding water a little bit at a time because you don't want to make it too runny. It's going to be more difficult to add back thickness. It's a lot easier to just add water to thin out something. You can season it however you want. I'm adding some onion powder. You could do garlic powder. And here's where you can have some fun with the flavors. I like to season my gravy with some, like a mix of umami packed ingredients. So I added some organic soy sauce. You can also do like coconut aminos. You can add a little bit of mustard as well, which I am doing, just some Dijon mustard, a little miso paste if you have as well. Really just building flavor upon flavor here. You want to bring this up to a boil and then turn it down to a simmer. The more it simmers, the thicker it's going to get. Adjust to your taste buds, so just add salt if needed, but definitely use your taste buds and taste, taste, taste. Now that everything is ready, it's time to bring it all together. The Brussels sprouts are perfectly roasted, the mushroom gravy is rich and velvety, and all that's left is just to finish up the mashed potatoes. I've drained the potatoes, but I always like to leave just a little bit of that cooking liquid behind. It really helps keep them creamy without needing too much added fat or cream and butter and things like that. I'm going to mash them. I'm going to keep some texture because I personally really like a rustic mash. You can, of course, rice it. You can do whatever you want with your mashed potatoes. For seasonings, I keep it simple with some salt, some garlic powder. For some umami, I did add some nutritional yeast just for some cheesy flavor. I'm going to drizzle it with some olive oil here. And of course, taste, taste, taste. You can also use some coconut milk if you want it really nice and rich. Sometimes I just like to keep it simple. If I don't have coconut milk, I'll just use some water. Now I'm finishing off our Brussels sprouts with a little bit of balsamic vinaigrette right at the end. It adds a little tang, it adds some extra pop of flavor. It's really, really good. You can just leave it out if you don't want to, but I like to put it on sometimes. And that's it. Our cozy, comforting dinner is ready to serve. Creamy mashed potatoes, crispy roasted Brussels sprouts for that texture difference, and of course that hearty mushroom gravy poured over everything. It's dinner time. I'm gonna call the kids in and I'm gonna enjoy this beautiful, comforting, cozy meal. All right, moment of truth. Let's give this a taste. First bite, that creamy mashed potato with a drizzle of that rich mushroom gravy. Ah, yes, it is so smooth, so comforting, and that little hint of balsamic just adds a depth of flavor that makes it so special. This is exactly the kind of meal that feels like a hug in a bowl. It's warm, it's filling, but also super easy to throw together, even on a busy day. We really hope you give this a try, and if you do, let me know how you make it your own. Alrighty, on to the next recipe. Alright, so we're making something on a whim here tonight. I knew I wanted to make pasta, but as always, I'm just working with what I have on hand and letting inspiration kind of lead the way. So I knew I had some sun-dried tomatoes that I wanted to use, and that's where the idea for tonight's sauce started. Instead of cooking the sauce on the stovetop, I thought, why not make it right in the oven? Less hands-on work, so yeah, let's just do that. I preheated the oven to about 350, 375, I believe. I grabbed my roasting dish and I'm adding some sliced up onions, some sliced up portobello mushrooms, the same ones that I got on clearance. I stocked up, so I had a couple of these on hand. We're going to then add some of that, or all of that sun-dried tomatoes. So since I stored them in the fridge, the oil solidified a bit, but that's totally fine. It's going to melt beautifully in the oven and coat everything with so much flavor. We're going to add a little bit of grapeseed oil on top so we can roast this nicely in the oven. We're going to season it with some salt as well, of course, and then we're going to toss everything together so it is all the ingredients are friends with each other. Into the oven it goes. We're going to set the timer for about, I would say, 25-30 minutes or so. We'll watch it. Then we're going to start a pot of water for pasta, salt it liberally, and we're going to use some organic spaghetti tonight. While the pasta is cooking, I'm going to finish on the sauce. So I just checked on my mushroom gravy sauce, if you will. I had some coconut cream in the fridge that I wanted to use, so I decided to make this a creamy mushroom sauce for the pasta. I only had about like half a can of coconut milk. If you add more, you can totally add this. I am cooking for a larger family, so we do need a little bit more ingredients. I stepped away from making that sauce a little bit to make a really quick and simple salad to go with our pasta tonight. So I've got some leftover red cabbage that I'm going to chop up along with some romaine lettuce, which is going to be the base for our salad. For our salad dressing, I have some tahini here, which is basically a sesame paste. I'm going to add a little bit more because I thought that I needed just a little bit more sauce. I'm adding some coconut aminos for a little bit of salty and a little bit of sweet flavors in here as well. I forgot to include this in the video, but I did add a juice of 1 lime and of course taste for any seasonings or salt that you need. The salad dressing is ready and our salad is ready as well. Of course, it's a salad. You can add anything, but for busy families, we're going to keep it really simple tonight. Just 2-ingredient salad. It's going to taste bomb with this salad dressing. Let's taste test a little bit of the salad just to make sure everything is on point. And yep, it is approved. Dinner is almost ready, so now I'm getting back to that sauce. Now I knew I had to make this sauce a little saucier. I'm going to add some pasta water in here. The starchy water really makes this nice and rich and thick. I am tasting this sauce to just see what it's missing, see what I need to add to make this just a little bit better. Here comes my inspiration. I was using the tahini for our salad dressing. I'm going to add tahini into our mushroom sauce to make it creamy as well. To kind of blend those flavors again from the salad, we're going to add some coconut aminos. And now it really is a rich and beautiful sauce ready for our pasta to be tossed in. Dinner is served, everybody. So I just called everybody to come in. They were dying to taste this, so of course they didn't get no bowls, so they're just gonna grab a fork and taste test this. Of course, I want the kids to approve of this pasta, so I let them just taste test and let me know their feedback. Pasta is oh so welcoming and always comforting. I would recommend adding a little bit of pepper on the top, and this pasta was very, very well liked by all of our kids. Our oldest son said, "I haven't made such a delicious pasta in a long time," so he definitely approved. The last comfort meal is inspired by a spot my kids absolutely love, which is Teriyaki Madness. It's that American fast food take on Japanese flavors, and while it is tasty, every time we eat out, it feels like it literally costs us an arm and a leg and maybe even a kidney. I'm not joking. Have you seen the prices that are on there listed for some tofu, rice, and vegetables? Jeez Louise. Anyway, I decided to start making this at home, and honestly, it's just as good, way healthier, and so much more budget friendly. So we are going to start off by using some blocks of organic tofu, which really soaks up all the flavor that you put into it. I am just going to drain it really quickly. You don't have to use a tofu press. You can if you want to, just to do it overnight and just prep it for the next morning. But when you're in a hurry, you do what you need to do. So I drained 3 blocks, and I usually buy 3 blocks of tofu from my local Smiths for $5. Very, very cost efficient. I'm going to save a dish by chopping up our tofu just in the box itself, just crisscrossing it, making them cubed, and I'm just going to put them in a baking dish like this. This may cause some comments in the comment section because this is not your typical American comfort food, but for those of us, like for myself, who really love exploring different cuisines, and I am Asian, obviously, this right here is pure comfort. It's very, very comforting food. A cozy, nourishing bowl of homemade teriyaki tofu and broccoli. Yes, please, any day. Now let's talk broccoli. I am using frozen organic broccoli because it is a lifesaver. So no chopping, no prep. It's just they usually freeze it at the peak of freshness. So, it's sometimes, buying it frozen is usually way more affordable sometimes, which is always a bonus, and of course it saves so much time. I'm going to drizzle it with a little bit of oil. You can use any type of oil. Grapeseed oil works nicely. I'm going to use a little bit of sesame oil. This may change the flavors a bit, so if you don't like that sesame flavor, don't use it. I'm also going to use some organic soy sauce. You don't have to use this if you don't want to. It's just for the umami saltiness, and then we're going to add some coconut aminos as well. The coconut aminos adds a little sweetness in here, so I don't need to add any brown sugar or anything in our teriyaki sauce. This doubles up, so I love using coconut aminos for teriyaki madness, quote unquote teriyaki madness at home. You can also add garlic, ginger, and maybe even a splash of rice vinegar to balance everything out. So you can also add some sriracha if you want that little bit of spicy kick. We are also going to add a little bit of salt. You can actually mix all of these in a container or like a mixing bowl and then pour it all over your vegetables. I'm saving a dish because sometimes the less dishes, the better, if you know what I mean. Raising a large family, dishes add up around here, and I'm not trying to wash a bunch of dishes here. So this is what we're doing today. So we're just gonna mix all of these sauces together. The tofu really absorbs all of these flavors. You can also do this overnight and prep it so that the tofu can have even more time to absorb all of those flavors. If you like it a little bit more saucy, which it looks like I needed some more sauce, I added some more coconut aminos in here, and then you can see already that the tofu is absorbing it. It's turning a dark brown color. Love it. And that's when you know the flavors are soaking into the tofu. This is going into the oven at 450 degrees. If you want this faster, you can turn up the oven. I would recommend putting the tofu in a little bit earlier, so give the tofu about an extra 15-20 minutes ahead of the vegetables. And now it is just time to make rice. We love jasmine rice at home. I grew up eating jasmine rice. I think it's the best rice in the world because of its fragrant tastiness of it, and it's not as sticky and starchy. Of course, for the Teriyaki Madness, they use the Caldos rice, which is a little bit stickier and a little bit, it's a short grain, so it is definitely stickier. So if you like a stickier rice, go ahead and just use the Cal Rose brand, or you could use any other rice that you like. I know a lot of you guys had suggested that we should get like a Instant Pot or a rice cooker. We used to have both, and we decided our rice cooker we no longer need because we weren't eating as much rice at the time, and then also for the Instant Pot, it actually broke on us. So I ended up just learning how to make rice in a pot, which is really strange for Asian households, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. I learned a new skill out of that. Anyway, this is what it looks like. Everything is ready. The rice took only like 15-20 minutes. The tofu took about like, I would say half an hour, 45 minutes. And honestly, it didn't really take much hands-on time because you could just put everything in the oven and go do whatever you need to do. We make our quote-unquote teriyaki madness at home at least once a week, I would say, because it is just so convenient and so satisfying and comforting. It feeds a crowd for very little money. Like I said, I got the tofu for like $5. The broccoli is, I don't know, like $7-8, and then the rice is like pennies, right? And really it's just the sauces and the onion. So you can make this for a large crowd for, I would say, about $10-15. If you saw, I was ladling up that teriyaki sauce on my rice. It is very much needed because it's so delicious and flavorful. And then you're gonna add some sriracha if you want it hot and spicy, which I really love. And there you go, a comforting bowl of homemade teriyaki madness, which is just tofu, vegetables, and rice. It is dinner time for everybody. I'm going to call all of the kiddos and they're going to get their share of dinner. All right, it's time for the best part, which is the taste test. First, a bite of that crispy, semi-crispy tofu coated with that really nice teriyaki sauce. Yes, it's very good. The outside is perfectly golden, the inside is nice and soft, and that sauce is sweet and savory and just the right amount of sort of like sticky because it kind of caramelizes in the oven. The broccoli is tasty as well. The roasting really brings out this like nutty flavor almost, and it's soaked up all that delicious sauce as well. This meal is everything I wanted it to be: quick, budget friendly, and so comforting. It's proof that you don't need to spend a fortune just to enjoy some good food. And honestly, I might never need to go to Teriyaki Madness ever again. And that wraps up today's video. We made 3 simple, comforting, and budget-friendly meals that prove homemade, plant-based food can be just as satisfying and comforting, if not more, than takeout. Thank you so much for spending time with us today. We hope that you subscribe if you're new, and we will see you on the next video. Bye, everybody.